Greetings! I'm Killen, and this is the fourth of 6 videos in my OP1 Performance Function Series where I'm giving tips, hacks, and making tracks on the OP1. And this video features the pattern function. This function definitely has its pros and cons. It's similar to Endless and Finger in some ways, and I think its best feature is its permutation capabilities. For those of you who don't know, permutation is basically when you mix up a pattern by changing its starting point, so we'll get into that a bit later. This track has already been composed, so what I'll do is start a new 4-bar pattern, and we'll start a few things from scratch. The first thing we'll start with is the vibraphone pattern. I've actually already uploaded this sound into my OP1, so you guys will have to choose a different sound. So to get to that sound, I'll go to Synths, Shift 8, I'll scroll down to LK Selection, which is where I saved the sound. Go down to vibraphone. Let's tweak it a bit before we program it into pattern. Now that we got that sweet tone, I was thinking we could program a D minor 7 chord. To program that into pattern, it's really simple. It's Shift, far right button over there. I'm already on the pattern function. I already have something programmed here, so I'm actually going to erase it by holding Shift and twisting the blue knob. And next, we'll program our notes. Make sure you hold Shift, twist the blue knob back to the beginning of the pattern, and then play your notes. You also have the option to skip notes if you want. But for now, we'll just use the straight 16th notes, so I'm actually going to erase those. If you want, you could program notes throughout the whole graph, but to simplify it, you could actually just shorten the pattern by doing this, twisting the white knob. So now we're left with a pattern that repeats 4 16th notes. You also have an option of changing the key of the pattern by just going up the keyboard. Okay, let's record that. Okay, that sounds good. Let's move straight on to bass. Okay, that's a good bass tone. Let's look at the pattern now. If I wanted to, I could probably just double this melodic line and it would sound good, but I kind of want to change it up a little bit. To do that, I'm going to add a 5th note to this pattern. And then just make sure you have the pattern set to 5 notes. You'll notice that if this note is in green, it's not in the pattern. So let's make sure it's green. There, let's audition that.
Sounds good to me, let's record it.
One important thing here, make sure you're on track 2 so that you don't record over track 1. Another convenient little tip here is that you could mix further in the master track. The bass is on track 2. If I want to lower it, I could just lower it there. We already recorded the bass, but I want to show how you could permutate this pattern and how that reacts with the other melody. It's really simple. To change the starting point of the pattern, you just hold Shift and twist the green knob. I'll start by shifting the pattern over by 1 note, and we'll see how that reacts with the other melody. really subtle difference, but it's cool just to have that option, and it makes a bigger difference if you're using a longer pattern. So this is the core of the groove. Let's add some percs to this. I think we could start with a simple 4 on the floor kick pattern. I'll go to my drum kit here, which is free, by the way, link in description. Okay, that kick sounds dope. I'm kind of hearing these weird 808 patterns, maybe like an affected 808 sound. Let's look at that. And here's where we run into problems with pattern. You'll notice that we're limited to 1 bar. Obviously this pattern is a lot longer than that, so we have to go over to endless. Oh, and again, if you want to know more about the endless function, I have another video on that. I'll link it up top and in the description down below. So in this particular example, I'm going to set it to 16th notes, and we're going to program a 32 note pattern. Let's audition that. We're definitely stepping into Nintendo/Game
Boy land here.
Just to reiterate, so far we have the bass vibraphone pattern. We have that 5-note bass pattern. And now we have the drums. We have some really cool stuff happening in the lower and mid frequencies, but I feel like this track is missing something in the higher frequencies, so let's look into that. So I found a high frequency riff that I'm happy with. I'm not going to use any functions for this, I'm just going to play it. Sometimes you just gotta
bang it out and play the riff.
Yeah, Nintendo, if you're looking for a composer, just hit me up. Before moving on to the last element of this track, there's a few other features I want to talk about pertaining to the permutation thing. This is really where the pattern function shines. For this, I'm going to program a full sequence into pattern. Let's say I only want to focus on 12 of the 16 notes in this pattern. So to do that, once again, twist the white knob. So now that I have my 12 notes within that, you hold shift, and now you could move the whole pattern around. This is really ideal for longer patterns, and it's kind of like a Steve Reich way of thinking of things. Once again, let's move that over by a few notes. There's definitely a few wrong notes in there, but I think you get the point. This is a very powerful tool for pattern sequencing. A few of the things I haven't shown you, you could swing or reverse swing the pattern depending on what you want. So to do that, you twist the green knob. If you're above 50%, it's swing. And if you're below 50%, it's reverse swing. If you want a pattern to play and hold, you just twist the red knob, and to turn it off, you twist it back. There's also a few options of what direction you want the pattern to play in. So if you want it to play forward, the arrow points forward. If you want it to play backwards, that's reverse. And if you want it to go back and forth in both directions, you have the double arrow here. Great, so now that that's out of the way, let's move on to the last element of the track, which is another arpeggiation. I'm looking for something that I could affect live, and in the original track I used dissolver, so let's go with that.
That's not right.
One little mistake here that I made, I left it on the double arrow function. I actually just wanted a 5-note pattern, so I'll leave it like that. Make sure the arrow is pointing forwards. And those are the elements that made up the track. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video if you want to hear the original track featuring the pattern function. If you're into this content, please like and subscribe to this channel. I have 2 more videos left in this series, and they're definitely the weirdest functions, so stay tuned for that. I'm really digging this whole content creator lifestyle, so keep the love coming, and I'll keep creating for you guys. Lots more to come, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.